What's going on, guys? It's Trent here from GTM Fitness, and today I wanted to make a quick video discussing some tips you can do on how to get in shape and ready for summer. Because I feel around this time people are starting to get in the habit of maybe going on crazy diets or killing themselves in the gym, and it really doesn't have to be like that. You still have enough time so you can begin to take this in a better approach, and you'll feel better. You won't have to worry about damaging your metabolism or going insane or losing any muscle in the process. So let's get started. Uh, let's talk about the diet first. The first thing you want to keep in mind is whenever in terms of your diet, crash diets are terrible because, well, typically crash diets or fad diets are telling you to restrict or cut out certain foods. What tends to happen is whenever you do that, you're creating too big of a calorie deficit. And whenever you go too low in calories, a ton of things start to happen. More importantly, your training is going to begin to suffer, and you're going to end up losing a lot of muscle and fat in the process. And that is the reason why most people, whenever they get to their goal weight, they don't look the way they want to because they lost a lot of their muscle in the process. So what to do is, in terms of your calorie deficit, and remember the calorie deficit, if you're not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight, period. So I would recommend not going any lower than 20% of your daily calories. And you can look up, there's a bunch of calorie counters online to give you an estimate on like your maintenance calories. A quick way to do that is maybe taking your body weight and multiplying it by 14 if you gain weight easily, 15 if you're like in the middle, and 16 if you lose weight easily. You pick one of those three numbers and multiply it by your body weight, and that'll give you like a pretty good estimate of your maintenance calories. Take that number, multiply it by 0.8, and that will give you how many calories you should be eating each day and being in that 20% deficit. And that is still enough calories to support your training as well as lose fat fairly quickly. I wouldn't recommend going any lower than that, and you might not even have to go that low if you're closer to your your goal weight. If you have a lot of weight to lose, you can use the 20% deficit. If not, you can go a little smaller. And make sure you have a balance. Whenever you're in a calorie deficit, I found that people enjoy and they perform better with higher protein. So you can have maybe 1.2 or 1.5 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But you don't have to go any higher than that. And that'll leave you full, especially while in a calorie deficit. And make sure you keep your fats around 25 to 30% of your total calories, and then the rest can just make up carbs. Because you need carbs, remember, to support your training. You're going to be strength training, and you got to refill your glycogen stores in your muscle and all that stuff. So a balanced diet is important. So let's go with some other strategies. If you haven't been already, you can implement intermittent fasting. Fasting is a great tool to help burn body fat, especially if you move your training into the fasted state. Weightlifting and cardio fasted will definitely help accelerate fat loss. And fasting, I look at it as a really good strategy to make sure you maintain your deficit, because that's the hardest thing. If think about it, with fasting, if you are pushing all of your calories back, I usually fast for 6 hours a day. If you push all your calories back into the day, there's almost like less time to eat all those calories if you look at it before you have to go to bed. So you can indulge in huge, enjoyable meals and still hit that calorie deficit. And if you're eating around 2,200 calories each day, you can split your meals up into almost 1,000 calorie meals and have a small snack or dessert. That flexible approach is really, really nice. And I also found like if you allow yourself to have a dessert, you'll probably crave it less. And so yeah, definitely use fasting to and train fasted as well. That'll boost fat loss up. You can take a caffeine pill, 200 milligrams. They sell them in a little bottle, and or use black coffee. That's a favorite of mine. And that caffeine will also accelerate fat loss. So, with that being said, I would use intermittent fasting and separate your meals into maybe 2 large meals and a snack, and you can divide your calories and macros into each. Um, all right, I think next we can touch on some training. So you must remember, you're in a calorie deficit, and what people typically do is they try to do a lot in the gym, and that increases that calorie deficit, which then makes it harder to recover from that training. And the typical approach is the high rep training to maybe think that you're toning your muscles. But if you want muscle tone, it all comes down to bringing your body down to low body fat levels. And so don't worry about the high reps to tone your muscles. What you need to worry about is the training volume that you're doing, how much you're doing. And then again, with the high reps, those really tap into your glycogen stores in your muscles. Sorry. So with yourself already being in a calorie deficit, your body has a very tough time in refilling those glycogen stores, which just sets your body up for a perfect storm of losing fat and muscle, which you don't want to do. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, that takes people ending up in like that skinny fat look, or they just don't get the look that they desire whenever they drop down to their goal weight. So how I like to approach it is strength training. Your training should involve sticking around like the 4 to 6 rep range. Even in a calorie deficit, you can still make great strength gains in that rep range, and you'll build lean muscle and strength. And it's not, you can easily recover from that too. And so to tie everything together, because I was rambling there for a little bit, you should focus on strength training in the 4 to 6 rep range. And I like to pick 3 or 4 exercises per workout with about 2 sets per exercise. Keeping the volume low, like I mentioned, is very maintainable even though you're in a calorie deficit. And you could probably still gain strength and muscle while being in a calorie deficit. Recently, a couple of my clients just did that as well. They were on a fat loss program, and they actually improved on their key movements even though they're in a calorie deficit. And it's pretty great because they get leaner and leaner each week as they build muscle, and each and every week they're looking better and better. So next is cardio. So how much cardio can you do? Personally, once you really dial in your nutrition, cardio doesn't really become that necessary, but it can really help. And with summer right around the corner, why not try to accelerate fat loss a little bit? But that's another common problem that people run into. They perform way too much cardio, which then creates way too big of a deficit, which then takes their appetite and just throws it through the roof, and then they pretty much eat over their calorie limit for the day, puts them in a surplus, and then they struggle to lose weight. So if you have a lot of weight to lose and feel cardio can help you, I would recommend performing HIIT cardio, HIIT, high intensity interval training. Basically that's like an off and on of like walking or walking and running. Some of my favorites of that type of cardio are on the elliptical, I had to think for a second because I don't really do it that much. But on the elliptical, you can do like a normal pace for like 45 seconds, and then 15 or 30 seconds of like a sprint. Um, or also you can do it on a bike. You can do like a normal pedal and then like a sprint pedal. But typically I kind of like the bike and then I don't because sometimes it like gives a really big pump on my legs and I just feel like I don't really like that too much. But you might. So the bike or elliptical or even the treadmill, you can do like a walk for a minute and then like a jog for a minute and 15. And high intensity interval training cardio has been shown to burn more fat than steady state cardio. So you're also save more time in the gym too. So if you're gonna perform any cardio, I would keep the sessions maybe 3 to 4 per week. You can do them right after you lift weights or on your rest days, and keep them between 20 and 30 minutes, but don't go over in 30 minutes. You'll start to run into just creating that big calorie deficit. You'll just be burning way too many calories. So dial in your nutrition. That's the most important part. Alternatively, you can increase your walking. That's something that I like to do. You can go for a nice 30, 45-minute walk and still burn the same amount of calories. But walking, it doesn't really boost your appetite. So that might be something for you if like exercise really boosts your appetite. You can go for a nice walk or something like that. And that's about it, guys. So let's recap on the video. So don't go any lower than 20% in your calorie deficit. Maintain a balance. You can go a little bit higher in protein, but make sure you have an adequate amount of fats and carbs. Utilize fasting. It's a great tool for burning fat and also helping stick to that calorie deficit. And make sure you're strength training in the 4 to 6 rep range, keeping the volume low. And if you're going to do any cardio, keep the sessions under 30 minutes, or alternatively do some walking. And that's about it, guys. If you're looking for a more laid out workout routine to follow, you can head on over to my blog and on my newsletter. I actually give it as a free gift along with 3 other free ebooks on balancing your life with fitness, building great abs, and another book that has fat loss and muscle building tips. And going with this video, the fat loss tips, 20 great reasons why you're not getting shredded. So you might want to check those out, guys. I'll try to put a link right up there in the video, but I'm not that good with technical stuff yet. So alternatively, it'll be down below. Alright, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video.